So, what does it take for governments, literally on opposite sides of the planet, to team up against just one person? Well, you're about to find out. This is a story about a massive global takedown, and it all kicks off with one absolutely jaw-dropping number. Okay, get ready for this. 150 million Singapore dollars. To put that in perspective, for some of you, that's over 115 million US dollars. And we're not talking about a company's market cap or some government spending plan. Nope. This is the value of assets seized from just one guy in a huge, coordinated police raid. So what does a $15 million seizure even look like in real life? Well, it looks a little something like this. The police in Singapore didn't just, freeze a bank account and call it a day. Oh no, they seized 6 properties, a luxury yacht, a whole fleet of 11 cars. They took control of multiple bank and securities accounts, not to mention cash, and even, get this, a collection of valuable foreign liquor. It's a window into a truly insane level of wealth. Which, of course, brings us to the $150 million question. Who is the man who owned all this stuff? And why were the police so determined to take it all away? So let's dive in. Who is this guy at the very heart of a massive international investigation? Because, on the surface, he looks like the poster child for success. His name is Chen Zhi. He's a 37-year-old Cambodian businessman, and he's the founder of a huge company called the Prince Group. But, and this is a big but, according to authorities all over the world, that public image, it's all just a cover. Yeah, because law enforcement agencies are saying that his supposedly legitimate business empire is actually a front for something much, much darker. And let's be crystal clear here, this isn't some small-time tax evasion thing. The U.S. government is on record alleging that the entire Prince Group is nothing more than a front for a massive, globe-spanning criminal network. And when you hear the specific allegations, they are genuinely chilling. This is what they're accusing him of: running global online scams that ripped off who knows how many people, using forced labor, engaging in actual human trafficking. I mean, it's a horrifying list, and all of it, allegedly, was hiding behind sophisticated money laundering and document forgery to cover their tracks. So you're probably wondering, how in the world do you even begin to take down an operation like this? Well, it takes some serious detective work and, maybe most importantly, a whole lot of international teamwork. Okay, so here's how the timeline played out. It starts in 2024, when Singapore's Financial Intelligence Unit spots some weird, suspicious transactions linked to Chen Zhi. That's the first thread. But then on October 14th, the whole thing blows wide open. That's when authorities from the US and the UK shared some absolutely critical intel with Singapore. And get this, just 16 days after that, the Singapore police launched their coordinated raids. It's a perfect example of how this global cooperation is supposed to work. And as massive as that Singapore seizure was, it turns out it was just one piece of the puzzle. It was part of a much bigger, truly global crackdown on Chen Zhi's alleged criminal empire. Okay, now take a look at this, because this is where the scale just becomes mind-boggling. That $115 million seized in Singapore, an incredible amount of money, right? Well, it's practically a rounding error compared to what US authorities grabbed from the same network. We're talking nearly $15 billion, with a B, $15 billion, all in seized Bitcoin. Just let that number sink in. It shows you the unbelievable scale we're dealing with, and it's also a huge signpost for how these modern borderless criminal groups operate. Digital currency is their financial backbone, making them incredibly hard to trace and even harder to stop. And this isn't just about losing money. The consequences are very, very real. Chen Zhi himself has been indicted in the US and is now looking at a maximum sentence of 40 years behind bars. Turns out he wasn't even in Singapore when the raids happened, but it's pretty clear his legal problems are really just getting started. Look, there's no doubt this case was a huge win for international law enforcement. It's a perfect example of what can happen when countries work together. But it also leaves us with a really big, lingering question, especially in the world we live in today. As these criminal empires go totally global, using digital currencies to hide in the shadows, can law enforcement, can our systems of justice really